Today we're going to break down my approach to improving your accent. Good afternoon, my name is Hakim. Bonjour, je m'appelle Hakim. Hola, me llamo Hakim. สวัสดีครับ ชื่อ Hakim นะครับ อยู่ประเทศไทย 4 ปี 안녕하세요. 저는 하킴입니다. 영국 사람이에요. 하지만 어머니 파키스탄 사람이에요. konnichiwa. 私の名前は Hakim です。私はイギリス人で como él diga, me appelle Hakim. Buongiorno, ¿cómo te llamas? Me llamo Rafa. مرحبا بك. السلام عليكم. كيف حالك? 大家好，我叫哈金，很高兴认识你。People do not typically perceive accent as a separate component while they're studying a language. So the first major tip is to see accent and intonation as a completely unique area to study. So that means while you are dedicating your time to vocabulary, grammar, reading, writing, and comprehension, listening, those are all valid and all necessary parts of mastering a language. However, if you want to improve your accent, you need to dedicate specific time to that and that only. Often people confuse pronunciation with accent. So what they do is feel like, oh, I'm confident in pronouncing this word correctly. People can understand me. That's communication and that's separate. However, accent is nothing to do with pronunciation really, because you could change your accent and speak like an American. American English is not necessarily the same. So I'm going to do a little exercise here where I demonstrate the same sentence in a variety of accents. And all I want you to do is focus on the intonation and the accent rather than the language itself. Train your brain to analyze the subtle differences in the tone, how I'm speaking, and that's how you can start building on your accent. So, hello, I'm Hakim. I'm British and I love languages. Hello, my name is Hakim. I am British and I love learning languages. Hello, my name is Hakim. I am a British and I love learning languages. Hello, my name is Hakim. I am British and I love learning languages. Hello, my name is Hakim. I'm British and I love learning languages. Hello, my name is Hakim. I am British and I love learning languages. Hello, my name is Hakim. I'm British and love learning languages. Hello, I am Hakim. I am British and I love learning languages. So as you can see, the sentence was the same, the words were exactly the same, but the tone is vastly different. And in order to achieve this, your brain needs to subtly analyze every single unique tone and know when to use it. So the first step is really being critical. Whenever you hear people speak, dedicate time to only listening to the sound of it. Right now, it's not about the vocab, it's not about the grammar. It's purely the tones. Now, this may come easier for people who have a musical background or a musical ear. Some people do this subconsciously when they learn a language, and that's probably because their ears are used to subtly and subconsciously distinguishing the different tones. However, that's not the case for everyone. So what we're going to do is dedicate specific time. When you hear those, for example, if you play back those sentences, really listening to the differences in tone and nothing else. Then the next step, once you're comfortable listening and have identified the specific accent you want, it doesn't really matter which one it is, but once you've selected, okay, I want to get the French accent down. What you then need to do is open yourself up to vulnerability, almost like an actor would, right? You are no longer going to be the person who you were before. You are no longer Jason, a Brit speaking French. You are Jason, the Frenchman speaking French. And this is where acting comes in, dropping your guard and literally in your mind telling yourself, I am no longer British. I am no longer from this place. So even if we're speaking English right now, I am going to tell myself I'm a French person before I even start speaking French. So some people might want to adopt an alter ego or another personality while doing this if it helps. I'm going to think of a very generic French name right now. I'm Clément. So Clément is from France and I am coming to England to improve my English. I am comfortable right now. I'm on my own. No one is going to judge me. No one is going to judge me when I'm speaking English. But now it's ready for me to speak French. So even just in your native language, practice, adopt a different character and get comfortable with the idea of that person speaking their language. So now I've identified my target language is French. Most British people I studied French with were unable to lose that strong British accent while they speak. So for example, a lot of Brits, if you can really, like I said before, pay attention to the tone of my voice now, the intonation, the accent. Quand les Anglais changent et essayent de parler le français, c'est normal qu'ils gardent la même intonation qu'ils ont en anglais. Bonjour, je m'appelle Hakim, je suis anglais et je peux communiquer sans problème. Maintenant, je suis sûr, si je suis avec un Français, ils vont me comprendre. So right now, it's clear that someone will be able to understand that. But now I'm adopting that character, Clément. So that character that I've adopted now, Clément, is about to speak French. So what I need to do is slowly, bonjour, bonjour, je m'appelle Clément, bonjour, je m'appelle Clément. So the bonjour is English. Bonjour, bonjour. Can you hear the difference? Bonjour, bon, bon, bonjour, bonjour, bonjour. Je m'appelle, bonjour, je m'appelle Clément, je m'appelle Clément, je m'appelle Clément. I'm going to speak French. Je vais parler le français. Je vais parler le français. Maintenant, quand je parle, je pense plus comme Hakim. Maintenant, je ne suis plus Hakim. Je suis Clément. Parce que maintenant, je suis plus British. Je suis plus britannique. Je pense comme un Français. Du coup, je n'ai pas peur de parler avec un accent français. So it's so crucial, like I said there, to lose the fear when you adopt not just the accent, but the personality. You become someone who speaks like that. That may even be an American. Sometimes I'm just chilling. I can't even do the American that well. Sometimes I'm just chilling and I tell myself that I'm from America. Now, some of the Americans may judge, but the only way that you can improve is to lose fear. I used to watch a lot of WWE, and the way that they'd speak is with a lot of conviction. They're not speaking in a calm way because they are going to take it very seriously. And I know that my accent in American it's not perfect yet, but these are the steps. You have to become someone. Now, when it gets to the Asian languages, even the body language, the whole persona changes. When I speak Korean or Thai, I don't speak in the same kind of aggressiveness that I would in British English because their culture is softer. So when speaking Thai, to greet someone, hello is sawadee krap, right? Sawadee krap. That's how a lot of English people would say it. Now, first of all, it's not as polite to speak so directly in Thai with that level of a tone. So I noticed that in Thai, they're a lot softer. Sawadee krap, sawadee krap, sawadee krap, sawadee krap. You see, so I'm becoming, even just the hand movements, the Y as they call it, when you bow and you put your hands together, that is not separate for me in becoming this Thai character. And I'm not Thai, but maybe thanks to my mixed looks, people often, when they hear me speak for the first time, ask me, are you Thai or are you mixed? สวัสดีครับไม่ใช่พูดได้นิดหน่อยนะครับพูดภาษาไทยมาได้นะครับ Because I become Thai, I do not see the person I'm speaking to as different. Eye to eye, we're the same. Now, that's very difficult for a lot of people who are very firm in their identity and their roots. But when you're practicing, when you're trying to get the accent, you need to drop that ego away. That ego needs to dissolve temporarily and you need to become what you want to speak like. So in Thai, you will hear their tones are completely different. Hello, I'm going to speak Thai with you นะครับ สวัสดีครับพูดภาษาไทยนะครับ Can you see the difference in the tones rising and falling throughout the conversation? English people might say, whoa, that's awesome. Oh, เก่งมาก in English, it sounds strange. It doesn't sound natural to speak like that. But in Thai, it's natural. So you have to, after dedicating time to listening and allowing your brain to memorize those voice patterns, you will gradually be able to copy not just the words and the sentence structure, but also the oi. That's a common way that Thai people express emotion. Something cool in English would say, whoa, that's awesome. Oh, watching Thai football commentators, you often hear them say, oh, suit yoi. So I'm embracing that character and I'm comfortable to let my guard down and have fun with it. As you can see, this is probably one of the most fun episodes I'll ever record, just based on the fact that it's fun to act and become someone different. But the more you do it, the more you'll actually start gradually getting better and better and maybe even being able to convince people. You know, the biggest compliment for me ever is being a Brit who studied French from secondary school and people asking me, are you from France? Maybe it helps the way I look, but I know that si j'étais un anglais avec une tête comme ça, je parlais comme un anglais comme ça, they're never going to ask me that. So le fait que moi j'adore imiter les gens, that gives me something of like, okay, I can keep doing it. And some people have said to me, oh, you're just gifted with your accents. Well, that's not actually the case, because when I first started, I had so much difficulty imitating all these different accents, but I just obsessed with repeating it over and over again. My French friends from Reunion Island, where I did my year abroad, always laugh at the OU sound, vous, 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 vous. That took me so long to master, and I'm still not fully there yet. The R's, c'est très bien, oui, vous allez bien, c'est très bien. Très, c'est très bien, c'est très bien. That took me ages. You know, I've been studying French since I was in secondary school and did it up to university. And along the way, each thing would improve gradually. Comme on dit en français, petit à petit, l'oiseau fait son nid. So it is an ongoing process that may seem like, oh, that person's just good. You don't see that, no, they've broken down every little component and one step at a time gradually build that up. For example, with the American accent, I'm not really there. I know people who are from the UK who can do a much better American accent, but the only way to improve is to keep doing it. So I've been told by Americans I'm not there yet, but the only way to get there is to do it. So let's recap. We've compartmentalized a specific time to dedicate and understanding the accent's different. And now we've dropped our guard and opened up a specific space where we can act and become the person who speaks that accent. You're not studying an accent, you're studying an outer ego of someone you're going to become, of that desired accent. My fellow Americans, keep practicing and you'll get it. Now, the next step is to now dedicate, I would say, it doesn't even have to be a lot of time every day, but if you can do it every single day, that would be optimal, from 5 minutes to an hour, where you isolate and what we call shadow. So I never knew this term until recently, until I got into the whole YouTube language sphere, but people call it shadowing now, where you basically listen to someone, whoever you want to sound like, and you just copy them. This could be maybe listening to some music on the way somewhere and just having that simulation. So for me, it was really in Reunion Island trying to imitate their Créole. Te, como il est les gars? Les là. Mi so l'Angleterre. So in French, it would be l'Angleterre. L'Angleterre. They've got that extra tone. So I would really love and enjoy putting that time aside. And if you really enjoy it, you'll lose track of time because it's fun. But now, dedicated time, this isn't reading practice. This isn't grammar practice. This isn't even speaking fluency practice. This is specific time dedicated to shadowing, only focusing on the intonation and the accent. An observation I made in Korean, for example, is that when Koreans are speaking English, they sometimes keep parts of their Korean intonation. Intonation, arachi, That sound, I call it the Korean song. After working with a lot of Koreans, when you ask a Korean a question, they might, before they respond, say something like, I want to study English. The English is a very, very difficult language. So I'm only able to pick up those kind of sounds by really listening specifically for that, like a treasure hunt for sounds. A lot of Korean men I've tutored often, before they speak, make sounds like this. Especially before a difficult question or something that's quite challenging. Like you might ask them, how many times do you go to the gym a week? And they might say, these days, I can't go to the gym. I have too much work. You hear these sounds. I don't know how else to show you, but I can't. Being aware of those sounds and practicing them. And it gets really fun, actually. I love doing this in Korean. And with my Korean friends, we have a lot of fun practicing this together where, for example, to say like no, it would be Annie. But it's not, that's with the British English pronunciation, Annie. Or a formal way, Annie예요. But we want to practice with the Korean intonation, 아니, 아니에요, 아니에요, 아니에요. And where is another way of like showing the negative in Korean. And where doesn't sound right. And where. Can you hear the difference becoming Korean? Right? 안 돼. 아니에요. 나 정말 괜찮아요. 감사합니다. 나 영국 사람이에요. Because I'm putting myself so much emotion into that. My Korean friends often tell me it's too much and it sounds like I'm like an actor going over the top. But for practice, it's better to go over the top and then take it down a notch in real conversation. Obviously, in Korea, if I'm with people, I'm not going to say 안돼 like 안돼. But when you're practicing, go over the top because it allows you to really pinpoint those subtle nuances in the intonation. 안녕. It's quite a cute way of saying 안녕. 안녕하세요. 안녕하세요. Men and women in Korean often speak in a different way. So be careful about identifying who exactly you want to copy because 감사합니다 might sound a little bit too cute for a 30-year-old man to say, right? But 감사합니다. 네. It's not 네. 네. When I first got to Korea, I remember going to the 편의점, which is the convenience store. I'm feeling really uncomfortable after I paid and the person saying 네. I thought they were like angry at me or something. But again, because of that dedication to the sound, little by little, I picked it up and was able to mimic that and understand. So more of those sounds, to pinpoint the sounds, for example, after spending time in Japan, I noticed that when I was speaking, people would often make this kind of sound, which at the start to my ears was like new character unlocked. This is something I'm not used to hearing. But then the enjoyment I would get from also giving them a back was really fun. But side note is in Japan, one of my friends told me that actually, depending on how loud your is, it shows whether you actually are interested in what they're saying or kind of just saying like, it's not really that interesting. So there's a lot of layers to this, but for accent specifically, we're focusing on hearing those sounds. Koreans, often when they're surprised, in English, it sounds very, very unnatural, but it's embracing that. And by doing those things, you're going to feel comfortable. That's your character building. Literally, if we use the idea of that outer ego, getting one step closer to being that person. You are no longer whoever you are who speaks French. You are getting closer and closer to being whoever you are with a native accent in whatever language it is you want to speak. You could even be a Brit And I often try to change the way I'm speaking depending on different regional accents in the UK. In the UK, we have a variety of accents depending on where you were educated, where geographically you are in the UK. And it's a lot of fun just trying to imitate those. Now that we've established all of these points, the next part is critical and maybe the most essential component to really getting a native accent. And that is receiving feedback, very critical feedback from native speakers. This is probably the most important point because if you do not get honest feedback from native speakers, you'll never really know if you're good or not. We can be critical to others, right? I'm sure you've met someone who speaks your native language, your mother tongue, and they might speak it well, but there's just something that alarms you. There's something that makes you aware that it's just not native. And you can actually start becoming very critical to others speaking your language because that's all about training your ear to distinguish those differences in sounds. But unless you've got someone being super critical back to you, it's very hard to improve. And I'm very blessed that I have friends from all of these different countries who I gave the permission to basically, well, I didn't even give them always the permission, but they just didn't hold back in their criticism to me. So in French, that was the second language. That was the first foreign language that I learned. Being in Reunion Island with speakers who were very comfortable around me to then savage my accent allowed me to get the vous to vous, to get the très to très, even in Créole to get the manger to manger, causer, te, qui ça oulé. And even in Créole, there's different accents. Mille fai fai, cosa fait là? Te, mille bien. Over and over and over again, every day, you're playing video games, you're having a conversation with your friends. If you're comfortable to chip in and say, no, mate, it's not actually where we're from. We don't say water. We say water. We say bottle. We say coffee. Tea. What tea do you want, mate? Do you want? Do you want? Well, if you want to fit in with the locals around you, you've got to open yourself up to a lot of criticism. It requires an incredible amount of vulnerability. But once you do that, you're going to make gains and you're going to have people from your hello compliment you on your languages. That's the difference. I know people who've studied Korean and Thai for years, but my sawadee is more natural. And I will get a feeling of love from those people purely based on just being able to imitate the way they say hello, not even a sentence after that. And you'll say, oh, konnichiwa, just from hello, even in England. Hello. Hi. You're right. Hello. All of them have different connotations and can bring you in differently to people. If we look at Arabic, assalamu alaikum, that's how Arabs say it. If you go to Pakistan, assalamu alaikum. If you go to Indonesia, assalamu alaikum. The same words change drastically, and it's a subconscious, instinctive feeling of openness we have when someone is able to speak like us. So you have to have people there who are willing to just tell you, even if it's 99.9%, that 0.1%, you have to have someone who can tell that to you. It can be a tutor, it can be a friend, but recording yourself alone, while it may help you at the start, is not going to be enough to really get you to that native-like level, which is what we're trying to do today. Today is only about changing your accent. You need someone with that accent to be able to tell you when it's off. So my final point's a kind of bonus point now. I know this is going to be a really polarizing point now because some people love singing, some people hate singing. Regardless, music can be an extremely useful tool, of course, for learning the accent and intonation of a person's language or of an accent. So I only really came across karaoke after living in Asia, and it's a perfect place where you're in a room on your own and you're able to just fully go for it. Fully sing your heart out, going for it. And imagine if you combine that safe space for you to really practice, not holding back, with somewhere where the goal is to imitate the accent and intonation perfectly. Implementing that into your routine is a really fun way in my experience. Sorry if you don't like singing, but 人影も見えない午前0時電話ボックスの外は雨かけ慣れたダイヤルレニーブルー夏追いかけるのあなたの幻消すように So, as you can see, I might not win the X Factor or any singing competition anytime soon, but by letting myself go in each language, I'm able to hear those subtle differences. Gozen, gozen. Lei ji, ji. Oh, the G sounds different to English. G. Guchi naneo. Naneo. Neo. By hearing it over and over again, you're going to build up that awareness. And through singing, you're not even really thinking about it. But the more you practice and the better your tone is able to match the original language and accent, you'll just find yourself improving. So by diving into the different subcultures of the language, you got to be careful. While I was listening to a lot of French hip-hop while studying French, j'ai commencé à parler comme les gens qui font du rap. Mon accent a changé. C'est normal. Ouais. Je suis anglais, mais je parle avec un accent comme des rappeurs. Oh, maybe that's not the best accent to speak during a French oral exam at university in the UK. And I like to imitate. There's a few people now in my life who I imitated before when I was imitating French in English. There was, maybe you can guess whose accent this was. He was a very famous manager for a team in London. So big respect to Arsene Wenger. I think he had an extremely classy accent. And après, j'ai commencé à imiter son accent, même en français, parce que je trouve son accent vraiment beau et raffiné. You see? So I've got that person identified. And there's another person very close to me who you may have seen on episodes. Et quand il parle français, j'essaie aussi de parler comme mon cher ami qui est aussi sur Evolve. Peut-être tu connais. En espagnol, es normal que cuando hablo, tengo un acento un poco más latino. Es porque pasé mucho tiempo con la gente de Latinoamérica, especialmente mexicanos. Y me gusta mostrar y apreciar la cultura latina. But then I remember playing FIFA when I was a lot younger and hearing Sacarabanda, Español, España. So even from a young age, I enjoyed celebrating the differences of accents. And the greater your appreciation is for different accents, the more analytical you're going to be in hearing these subtle nuances and being able to, like a roster in your brain, identify, okay, right now, I want to speak with the American accent, and I've been watching a lot of anime. I don't really have that accent down yet, but I've been trying. I've been watching a lot of Dragon Ball, and I love the way that Baby Goku speaks. Kid Goku's accent is great. See, I'm not there yet. Ironically, in English, my mother tongue, I find it quite difficult to get that American accent, but I'm going to keep going because I can do it. It's harder for me, see? It is an ongoing journey. Thai tones took me so long. Now, I feel really proud that my Thai is able to express that Thai accent a bit more accurately than a lot of others. สบายดีไหมครับโอ้โหกินข้าวหรือยังกินแล้วกินอะไรครับอ๋อชอบส้มทำไหมชอบมากนะโอ้กินเผ็ดได้ไหม These questions at the start of learning Thai, I found it so difficult. I couldn't imitate the tones, no matter how hard I tried. But after doing it over and over again and doing some language exchange with Ben, shout out to her, she's been on another previous episode of Evolve, only after going over and over again with that was suddenly, it almost seemed like a eureka moment of, wow, so I did crap, that I just got it. But really, it was the tip of the iceberg after a lot of agony and being corrected and frustration. It was one of the most frustrating languages I've ever tried to imitate because of the tones, which was a completely new phenomenon for me. That would be my last thoughts. It's just to not give up, because now I get a really nice reaction from Thai people when I speak to them. But at the start, I just couldn't. It would really, really frustrate me when I would say something in Thai, and because of the tones and the difference in meaning, they would just completely, like, they wouldn't, Thais are not subtle people in that way. They would just say, "Alai nakap." They wouldn't understand me at all. That was extremely discouraging and demotivating while I was living in the country, but I didn't give up. I kept going. And now, every time I meet a Thai person, there's such a beautiful connection and appreciation to their culture, which is tied to language. And to just show you a bit of a difference, my Muay Thai trainer from Isam has a very thick, strong accent, and the way he speaks is different. And I use that now when I get into a Thai taxi. Mentioned it before. Get in the taxi, and before, when I used to get in, it would be, hello, Swaddy Cup, can you take me to the MRT, please? MRT Rama 9. Alai nakap? Maiเข้าใจนะคะ? And then eventually they'd understand and they'd give me like, 1,000 baht na. Only after learning Muay Thai from my trainer, I would say, ครับผมบ่ายพลังงานนะครับ. When you can imitate the accent so naturally like that, they would never question it. Beep, straight away, put the meter on, and there's a connection. So accents are powerful. Maybe we can do a separate episode about why you should learn an accent. But my final thoughts are, let's put politics aside right now. An accent is an instinctive thing that when we hear, it can fill us with a variety of emotions, maybe good or bad. But by showing an appreciation of someone's culture so much and dedicating so much time into imitating them, more often than not, you'll be received in such a positive way, if you can pull it off, that it opens up so many more opportunities to your life. It's allowed me to enrich my life in terms of culture in such a powerful way. So don't write it off. Keep practicing. Apply the tips from this and let me know what you think in how you can improve your accent. You may have seen on some of the other episodes that obviously I'm a French speaker, mais des fois quand je suis avec des gens d'Afrique, moi, c'est pas toujours conscient. Moi, je fais pas exprès, mais mon accent change un peu. Parce que c'est en fait, moi j'ai grandi avec les Africains. Moi j'ai la famille du Ghana. Donc quand je parle français, moi je me trouve pas offensif. C'est normal pour moi de changer un peu. C'est normal. Quand je suis avec des créoles, ça change. L'accent change. C'est normal. Des fois, quand je suis avec mes amis mauriciens, réunionnais, ça change. Parce que j'ai l'habitude d'être avec des gens différents. And when you're around people like that, it's normal that if you sound more like them, the barriers are going to be broken. The guard goes down and you're able to connect more quickly. So just want to say thank you very much for watching this video. It's quite different from the other language videos, so let us know what you think. If you enjoyed this content or maybe you disagree, we want to know everything in the comments. But before you go, make sure you check out some other language videos on our channel, as well as our other content. Make sure you click subscribe if you benefited from this video, of course. Share it with others who you think could benefit, and we'll see you very soon. Arigatou gozaimashita. 감사합니다.ขอบคุณครับ. Merci Azot. Merci beaucoup. Gracias. Cảm ơn. Selamat. Medaseng.